Speaking of pivotal weekends, you're right. These last 3 weeks are key and critical for teams to really solidify where they're going to be at, and at the same time try to find a way to get healthy. Mm-hmm. So that number 1 seed, which only because the new rules, the additional playoff game that the NFL instituted for starting this season, that number 1 seed is even more important because there's only one on both sides. Mm-hmm. So if you get number 1, you get the week off, you get a bye week, and you have home field advantage. And I think one team needs it more than most, and this is the Pittsburg Steelers. Pittsburgh has now gone out and lost not 1, but 2 games in a row. They first lost to the Washington football team in a game that we're still trying to figure out how they actually lost that game. And now they lost to the Buffalo Bills on Sunday night, which was...
It wasn't even close.
No. It was 26-15. It was closer than expected. That pick six is the only reason why it went away. But at the same time, this was a very, very, very sloppy game on not only Pittsburgh's part, but on Buffalo. So, Jimmy, what was your thoughts on that game? How did you feel about Pittsburgh going out there and taking its L like this?
Well, I feel bad for him because our boy Colin predicted this last week. And when they lost their first game against Washington, he trolled the hell out of Steelers Nation. I don't know why he did it. Like, I had no idea this whole season he's been saying that they were fraudulent. Yeah. In a sense. But I can only imagine what he said on his show today. I haven't listened to it yet, but I know it was, bad. I know it was really, really bad. On him. But I thought in watching this that Tomlin better get this together quick. Because I don't think Steelers Nation is going to accept them starting the season 11-0, only to nosedive the final 4 to 5 games of the season. And playing like this, they're not beating anybody in the playoffs because that fear factor that they had is gone. The way that defense was playing, even though they're still good and solid, they've had some injuries, but that sort of that mystique of the ghost of those old Steelers defenses inhabiting the bodies of this current Steelers team defense is gone. So, watching this, they don't look like the Steelers anymore. That's what I thought. Like, they're wearing the uniforms. They're still a good team, but they don't look like the Steelers anymore.
Yeah. No, you're right in that respect. This is not the Pittsburgh Steelers team that's 11-0 going into those last 2 games. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, let me put it like this. In our minds, this was not the 11-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. On the field, this is definitely the 11-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. Mm. We talked about this weeks ago. Me and you had a segment where we asked the question, were the Pittsburgh Steelers frauds? Mm-hmm. And I believe it was after the Ravens win. It was the Ravens win when they beat them 20.
They had all those turnovers.
24. They had a bunch of the Ravens had a whole bunch of turnovers and a pick six, which is basically what sealed the game for them to lose. Mm-hmm. Without that pick six and Lamar Jackson's 3 fumbles, the Steelers were going to take a massive L from them. And the only reason why they beat them the second time was because half of the Ravens were out due to COVID. Mm-hmm. And they had RG3 out there for a little bit before he got hurt. So this has always been who the Steelers were. Pittsburgh has not been a good team at all this year. Overall, the problem is they're limited at the quarterback position. Ben Roethlisberger looks like the old man on the football field. He looks like he's struggling. He looks like a statue trying to throw the ball, and it's not going anywhere. That's a problem, especially when it comes to the playoffs and they start facing teams with good pass rushes. Buffalo has a really good pass rush, and they have a solid overall defense. Mm-hmm. But they also show their limitations because of their quarterback, too, to the point of teams being able to actually come back and beat them if you do the right things to rattle up their quarterback. Pittsburgh has become the same thing. You put enough pressure in front of Ben Roethlisberger, he seems to clam up and immediately tuck the ball and take the sack. Instead of doing what I saw that Jalen Hurts did, which was great for the Eagles, is that when he saw the pressure and he knew that there was no chance of him getting a pass off, he threw it away. He either ran it or he threw it away. If he saw he had no way of getting away from the pass rush, he threw it away. Ben's not really doing that. He's taking sacks.
He's never really done that.
He really hasn't. He's a gunslinger.
Yeah.
And to me, this is kind of a situation where I don't blame Mike Tomlin for this. He can only do so much. He can institute the game plan. It's the job of the players to execute. And we've learned how good of a coach he is. That he can put together the game plan. He just needs players to execute. There's nothing you can do about wide receivers dropping wide open passes across the middle, deep, everywhere. If your wide receivers are just dropping passes, that's not even on your quarterback. That's on the wide receivers. Hit you in the hands, you got to catch that thing. As they say, John, he hit him hit him in the wrong place. John,
hit him in the hands.
Hit him in the hands, as Al Michaels would tell us. But that, to me, is the biggest problem with what Pittsburgh is doing. And it makes me think about especially how – because, they start off the game, they caused Buffalo basically a punt the entire game, and they intercepted him early. They disheveled Josh Allen, and he threw a pick within the first 2 possessions. And from there, what did Pittsburgh do? Punt, punt, punt. Literally, it's the first possessions. It was punt, 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 interception by the Steelers, punt, 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 fumble by Buffalo. Steelers picked it up, finally scored a touchdown, punt, punt, and then they gave up the Buffalo field goal. Then the game changed. I guess momentum hit at this point because they threw a pick 6 next, and at that point, with it being 9-7, Buffalo just went off. But Pittsburgh did nothing on offense. They have James Conner in the backfield, and they should be able to do something with him. They've got 3 stud wide receivers, and I don't know what happened to Eric Ebron. He ain't catching anything. Everything going in his hands is dropping.
He's been good, but he didn't play very well yesterday.
Yeah, he's been good.
He's
been dropping passes the last couple of games, though. Him and Johnson.
Well, going back to the offense, and you just brought up James Conner. I'm glad you did. So there's this feature on Madden. I know that you've graduated from sports games into others.
I still play
on the consoles. Okay, so there's this feature on Madden. I don't know how old the feature is. It's where you can guess the play if you're on defense.
Yes.
You can pass commit or run commit.
It's like Coach Stradamus, basically.
Yeah. It boosts the AI if you can guess the play correctly, if you think it's going to be a pass, and then you call that, and then that's what your defense is looking for. So this Pittsburgh Steelers team, because they don't run the ball effectively, teams are able to pass commit more. They know that the passes are coming as opposed to the run, because they did not run the ball. I don't have the stats in front of me. I looked at them earlier, but they ran the ball poorly in this game.
17 carries for 47 yards, 2.8 yards a carry.
That is atrocious. That's what the New York Jets do, not the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that is horrible. So I think that teams are able to pass commit more, and that's part of the reason why you don't see those big plays to Chase Claypool, that rookie wide receiver that they were hitting earlier in the season, because teams are taking that away because they can focus on the pass more, because this run game doesn't scare anybody. I'm understanding this more and more about the NFL. A big part of success is scaring people. You have to have facets of the game that scare your opponent. If the run isn't scaring a team, then they can focus on the pass, and that's what these defenses are able to do. And Pittsburgh passing more, that's exactly playing into the hands of the defense. That's what they want. They want an old, coming off of an elbow injury, Ben Roethlisberger to throw it 50 times a game. Why? Because they know that there are going to be some turnovers in there, some sacks, some strip sacks. So that's exactly what they're wanting them to do. So if they keep doing this, like I said, the Steelers, they're going to get to the playoffs, but I think they have clinched a playoff spot, but they're not getting out of the first round.
Especially the fact that Ben can't even throw it deep, really. Like, Claypool was catching some passes at the beginning of the season. We're at that point of the year, and I had a good argument with another Tampa Bay fan, and I was talking to him about Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't worry. November, going to December, he's going to show that he is washed. And he has been slowly doing it, because a lot of his passes deep. He is the most inaccurate quarterback in the NFL, throwing it past 20 yards. His passes are not hitting on point. His pass rating's terrible at that point. Ben is doing the same. Ben, as he gets gradually through the season, that shoulder and that elbow ain't it. He's not hitting any of his receivers. He threw 2 interceptions deep, which made no sense for him. He threw 1 interception deep that made no sense for him to throw that pass the way he did. That's going to be where your problem sets in. Now, he also averaged 5 yards a pass. That is bad.
That's really bad.
Josh Allen was 5.5. Like, I like Josh Allen overall. I told you I'm growing onto him as well. I can tell that he works hard. That's the thing I appreciate the most about him. But just don't overinflate how good of a quarterback he is. Mm-hmm. Because 5.5 yards a pass and he threw the ball 43 times is not good. That's actually really, really, really bad. And Ben, with his turnovers, the way that game was going on at the end of it, it's funny because I think about this even with the Patrick Mahomes game. It makes me think about how video game like the Chiefs are. And that's going to be the biggest problems for the Steelers if they go into the playoffs playing against the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs really are, like you said, like Golden State, they are a video game type team. Because think about this. You play Madden, right?
Yes.
How many games have you had where you had like 4 interceptions and you won the game?
Just about. I mean, that's the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, they rage quit. Yeah.
You're reckless with your passes. You do all kinds of crazy stuff, and you still end up winning your games. But the games are closer because you turn the ball over. Mm-hmm. But when you don't turn the ball over, they're blowouts, right? That's basically what Kansas City is. They're like me playing NCAA football. My quarterback will throw 7 interceptions in the game, and I'll win 56-47. And the only reason why the game was close is because I kept turning the ball over. That's the only reason why it's close, because my team is so much better, and that is a situation that Pittsburgh is going to be dealing with. When Kansas City starts making them turn over the ball, they are not capable of coming back from turnovers like that. Okay. Kansas City is.
Okay, so one word answer: Steelers in the playoffs. Can they beat Kansas City?
No.
Can they beat Tennessee?
Yes.
Can they beat Buffalo?
Yes.
Can they beat Cleveland?
Yes.
Let's see who
what about you?
Can they beat the Dolphins?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's your playoff teams right there.
Pretty much, yeah.
And the only reason why is Pittsburgh's going to have to, and this is what Tomlin's going to have to do, he's going to have to hone in hardcore on that defense, and they're going to have to carry him. They're going to have to carry Ben Roethlisberger just like the 2015, was that 15? Or 2015 Denver Broncos did for Peyton Manning?
Yeah, and Von Miller, yep.
Yeah, they carried that team to the Super Bowl win against a quarterback like Cam Newton, who had an MVP season, went 15-1, and looked like the best thing we've probably ever seen at quarterback. They were able to contain him. If the Steelers' defense don't turn it up a notch, in which they are a monstrous defense, I think DVOA-wise, they're in the top 5. I'm sorry, they're the number 1 defense DVOA in the NFL right now. They have to turn it up to a historic level if they want to win a Super Bowl. They cannot win a Super Bowl off Ben Roethlisberger. He's toast.
That's right. I don't know if he's toast, but they can't win a Super Bowl off of him. Because you're saying he's toast, he's done. You ought to just retire right now.
Yes.
That's basically what you're saying. I can't say that about him yet. But he's getting to that. He's more so running to that point as opposed to walking.
Running where?
To retirement.
Where is he running to?
Being toast.
Have you seen him run? When is he running? When is Ben Roethlisberger running on the football field?
He's never run.
Well, he's scrambled. He's known for scrambling and taking big hits.
No, he doesn't scramble.
He's a scrambler. He gets some scramble.
You know, when they build a statue of Ben Roethlisberger outside of the Pittsburgh Stadium, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be him.
A statue
with 3 guys hanging off of him. That's Ben Roethlisberger. He gets away from nobody.
But Ben has scrambled before. The problem with him right now, I didn't say he was fast with it. He has been smart enough to tuck and run, but he ain't running nowhere right now. He looks old. I've seen some videos of him running with that.